All right, you guys, what's going on? This is your boy Town Biz. Welcome to Town Biz Sports and Entertainment. This is the post-fight commentary. As some of you guys may have witnessed, Jack Catterall pretty much, for the most part, dominates Regis Prograis to pretty much an easy, unanimous decision. Regis dropped him like in the sixth round with a quick shoulder shot. Didn't really do any damage to Jack Catterall. That's what you call a flash knockdown. He wasn't hurt at all. He was off balance, but a knockdown is a knockdown. But Jack Catterall fought on. He dropped Regis twice. I think it was in the ninth round. And I think Jack Catterall had established some distance early in the fight. It was a great fight. The second half was really action packed. But the problem is with Regis was really out of character, swinging wild, punching out of range. Regis was swinging so hard trying to knock Jack Catterall out, and he was clearly out of range to where he was actually falling down. Really sloppy performance by Regis Prograis, and you could just tell that he's still, a little bit out of it from the Devin Haney fight. But let's talk about Jack Catterall. Jack Catterall, he's been very impressive. He doesn't do anything exceptionally well, but he just knows how to fight. That's just basically the best way you could sum up Jack Catterall. And when you got a guy that can do everything, substantial and satisfiable, as in Jack Catterall, it makes him a threat to anybody. At the end of the day, I think Jack Catterall can hold his own with pretty much all of the 140 pounders. You know, and that's just, well, I'm not going to go in on Regis. At the end of the day, some people, have to try to play the game to get in the good graces of certain people. And at the end of the day, I wasn't feeling what Regis did, because Regis going into this fight was complaining about lack of testing for a fight. And, at the end of the day, dudes going to do what they do. Guys are going to compromise themselves and be disingenuous, such as guys like, Tim Bradley on his stance with Teofimo Lopez, and his constant, monkey comments towards black fighters, and particularly Terrence Crawford. So, that's unfortunate, but we're going to talk about Jack Catterall. I got to give him all the credit in the world. I've been really impressed with Jack Catterall. Jack Catterall then had a great year. He got his get back versus, Josh Taylor in a fight that I thought he won. I thought he won both outings versus Josh Taylor, but they went with Josh Taylor in the first fight. And, Jack Catterall beat him in the second fight. So at the end of the day, more than likely, Jack Catterall will possibly get the winner out of Liam Pyro and, Hitchens. That's probably a more easier fight to make. So he probably will get the winner of that fight. So he'll get a title shot. But at the end of the day, Jack Catterall put on a hell of a performance. I mean, he dropped Regis twice. And like I said, I was thinking to myself that Regis was going to walk into something, and eventually he did get caught. Not once, but twice. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm surprised that he didn't get knocked out, because I'm going to tell you something. Had he did that against somebody like Tank, or somebody, even that cornball like Ryan Garcia, he probably would have got knocked out, cold. One thing I saw about Regis, he can't fight within certain range because he had short arms. So he has to get close. And that's why I was tripping out when Regis Prograis was completely swinging out of range. And I'm talking about, he was clearly out of range. Now, I thought Regis was out of character. I mean, Regis was fighting very undisciplined. Regis was fighting like a guy who hadn't been there before. He was actually fighting like a guy that was desperate. He looked like Ricardo Mayorga at times. He was just basically don't when you swinging so hard, you knocking yourself down. And I watched Regis fights several times. And to me, that wasn't the Regis that I was used to seeing. Now we know the problem is with Regis, he has problems with, guys that have reach and that could throw a good jab. And like I said, Jack Catterall doesn't do anything special. He just one of them dudes that just knows how to fight. He just knows how to fight. And Jack Catterall's one of them dudes. Um, he could give anybody problems just based off his style. Not saying that he could beat everybody, but I'm saying he'll give people fits. And those are the type of fighters that are very dangerous. He could go into a fight and get totally dominated, and then the next fight he come back and he dominates. So, with that being said, it's been a good year for Jack Catterall. I'll say that much. And there's some fights out there for him. But as we know in politics of boxing, there's just going to be certain fights he's not going to get. There's just going to be, the type of politics where people is just like, oh, well, Jack Catterall, he's not a big money fight and that kind of stuff. You're going to hear that pretty soon. But that's just how boxing works. Unfortunately, this day and age, it's not about, the best fight, the best. It's about, high, you know what I'm saying? High reward, low risk. People don't think the way they used to think back in the day where people was like, I'm out to be the best. I want to prove myself by fight the best guys available. Those days are gone. The only fighter out there that I think is a throwback fighter like that is Terrence Crawford. So that's pretty much that's pretty much like who I think is a traditional throwback fighter, you know. But Regis, that's my man's though. I wasn't messing with him on some of the stuff he was saying though. I wasn't messing with him on some of the stuff he was saying, as far as Devin go and stuff, because, yeah, Arthur Better Beeb is a throwback fighter too. Dude, stop it. Stop it. Terrence Crawford, when he was at welterweight, he tried to fight everybody that was available. He tried to fight all the PBC fighters. Al Heyman prevented Terrence Crawford from becoming undisputed, longer than what he should have had to wait to become undisputed. He didn't want to match him up with those guys. So I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that stuff about Terrence Crawford. So we're not doing that. Nah, Devin, I just want to see Devin come back. At the end of the day, we know Devin Haney got screwed, and people tried to downplay what Ryan Garcia did. Ryan Garcia cheated, and that's just the bottom line. And then you got people trying to play stupid. I'm not dumb. See, I'm not one of these. I'm not a casual boxing fan. I know how boxing works. And that's what had me tripping out when Oscar De La Hoya came with that pathetic clapback Thursday, talking about the amount. Like, stop it, dude. Oscar was crying back in the day about people using Gatorade in fights. So for him to sit up here and try to, be coy and try to dismiss what Ryan Garcia did, says a lot about him. Says a lot about him tremendously. Now, what happens with Regis? Regis gonna have to take a giant step back. Giant step back. Regis is gonna have to really, and Regis is getting up there in age too. He's getting up there in age. I think for Regis, what he needs to do is take a soft touch. I think his next 3 fights need to be a soft touch, to get his confidence back. I don't think Regis has to retire. I don't think Regis has to retire. I just think that Regis need, and people say this stuff about bare knuckle and all that kind of stuff. There ain't no money in no bare knuckle. Why would you, why would you downsize? Why would you downsize the bare knuckle fight where you maybe can make, who knows, at best, maybe, $20,000, and you getting paid anywhere from six to $1 million per fight? I just don't see Regis doing that. I think that's the best option for Regis. I think he should take a soft touch or two and then see what happens in 2025 and see maybe is a Josh Taylor rematch on the card for him. I think that's a sellable fight. I think people would be interested in that fight, but based off the fact that he got dominated. To be honest with you, I had that fight even with the knockdown. I had that fight easily 9-3 for Jack Catterall. Easily 9 rounds to 3. Worst case scenario, 8-4. Worst case. Yeah, just worst case scenario for Jack Catterall. He lost 4 rounds. I thought he clearly won the fight. No controversy here whatsoever. He clearly won that fight. The only controversy is how many rounds he won, whether it was 9 rounds or whether it was 8 rounds. But he definitely didn't lose no more than 4 rounds. I always thought that Jack Catterall was a solid fighter. I met him like a few years ago. I met him like in 2021. He always was a solid fighter. And like I said, he doesn't do anything particularly well. He just can fight. He just can fight. He's not super fast, and he's not super slow, but he got good ring IQ, and he know how to place punches when it's time to place punches. And he knows, and his defense is solid too. His defense is solid too. So that's what make him a really good fighter. You know, he got great timing. He got great time. The thing is, he when Regis was lunging in, if Jack Catterall would have like do what you call a fake, and then if he had threw that fadeaway hook, he would have knocked Regis out. He would have caught him. He would have knocked him out flush. I'm talking about he would have knocked him out cold. Now I'm gonna tell you guys, like, the fight, the first 4 rounds were a little bit slow, but you knew after the fifth round it was gonna pick up. And like I said, it got a little sloppy at times. And like I said, Regis, he was just out of character. Like I said, he was just swinging wildly, and I just had never seen him like swinging like that. I've watched several Regis fights. He didn't have the discipline that I've seen him have in a lot of fights. I think Rayo, mm, that could go either way. That could go either way. To ain't gonna fight nobody like he not gonna fight nobody like Catterall. He's not gonna fight him. I think Tio would struggle against somebody like Catterall, and I think Rayo would too. I think Devin would just outbox. I think Devin could just possibly outbox Jack Catterall. But like I said, Jack Catterall's one of them. He is a wild card, literally. Yeah, he didn't have no discipline in this fight. He was really out of character. Yeah, but Jack Catterall is a wild card versus anybody. It's one of them. It's one of them. He's one of them type of dudes. You wouldn't be surprised if he won, but you wouldn't be surprised if he lost and lost by a close decision. Because, like I said, I thought he beat Josh Taylor twice. I don't think that Canelo fight is going to happen because I just don't think that's just in the cards. Because, like I said before, you asking a lot of Terrence Crawford. You asking him even at 154. You still asking him to go up two more two more weight classes. He hasn't even had a fight at 160. So you asking him to fight at 168. Like I said before, I mess with Bud, but that's just like really asking a lot of him. And then Canelo, at the end of the day, Canelo would look really bad. If Canelo would look really bad if basically he said, okay, well, I'll fight Terrence Crawford. But I don't want to fight David Benavidez. I don't want to fight none of those dudes. Even though David Benavidez is campaigning at 175, he said that in all likelihood, you never know. Even though David Benavidez said he would go back down, but Canelo asked for like $175 million to fight David Benavidez. How do you ask for almost 200 million to fight David Benavidez, but then you would turn around and fight Terrence Crawford for like $30 million? That don't even make no kind of sense. Financially, that wouldn't make sense for Canelo. So that's what I'm saying. Well, that's what I just said. Why would like like that's a tall task. I mean, Canelo ain't no scrub. Canelo ain't no scrub. Even though I'm questioning some of the fights that Canelo has taken over the past 4 or 5 fights. To me, Canelo ain't had a very competitive fight since the Caleb Plant fight. I mean, Canelo has taken fights that you knew without a shadow of a doubt that he was going to win. With the exception of the Bivol fight, which I don't think Canelo wants to go near Bivol. I don't believe it. I don't think he want a rematch. I think Canelo is going to circle the wagon till around probably February. We'll find out who he's fighting. And from what I've been told, he's probably going to fight. He's probably going to fight Jermall Charlo. But you've been hearing that Jermall Charlo could be featured on the Tank card, or he could be featured on the David Benavidez card. But you've been hearing a lot of things about the PBC. The PBC seems to be up in the air about what their next big move is going to be. You've been hearing that they're lacking serious. You've been hearing that they've been lacking serious money problems. Basically, they don't have the budget to pay these fighters. And basically they're scrambling to put fights together. Then you've been hearing this stuff about Al Heyman and his health and all this kind of stuff. So that's the problem. This Amazon deal is sort of like a distribution type of deal. They're not giving them any upfront money. And then Tank doesn't appear to want to fight in Houston. So you've been hearing that Tank, you've been hearing that Tank isn't going to fight on December 14th. And that probably makes a lot of sense because here's the thing. There's no booking for December the 14th in Houston. So there's no tickets. There's no tickets for sale. There's no basically stuff for the media if we want to go cover the fight. So we haven't seen any type of promo for the fight. There hasn't been an official press conference. keep in mind we're headed into basically the last week of October. So I don't think there's going to be a fight on December the 14th. And then, like I said, behind the scenes, you've been hearing that Tank doesn't want to fight in Houston, and that him and Al Heyman has clashed over this stuff. I mean, I could find out. I got a lot of sources in Texas. Yeah, I heard Tank just don't want to fight. I just heard he don't want to fight in Houston. He just doesn't want to fight. He just doesn't want to fight out there. And I think based off Tank's popularity, he can call those type of shots. So that's what the problem is. Keep in mind, this is the second time that Tank has you know, basically forced his way out of fight. Because keep in mind, he was supposed to fight Frank Martin in Houston, and they moved the fight to Las Vegas. To me, they should just try to see if they move the fight to Atlanta, Brooklyn. They should try to see maybe they could fight in a new Clippers arena. I mean, wherever Tank fights, he brings in the crowd. Well, Texas got a good tax bracket too, but Tank don't want to fight it. He doesn't want to fight in Texas. So that's something that he gonna have to figure out with Al Heyman. And I think it's getting to the point to where people are not listening to Al Heyman no more. And I guess Al Heyman can't whisper sweet nothing in people's ears no more and say, hey, take this fight right now. And then because they don't have a distributing deal. They don't have a distributing deal. And that's just the bottom line. They don't have a distributing deal. They don't have a real TV deal. Amazon is sort of like distributing. They don't have a TV deal. They don't have no Showtime. They don't have none of that stuff. This thing with Netflix and Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, this is just a trial run. But Netflix is looking to get into sports. If the numbers are good, then who knows? There's been talk of Al Heyman having, conversations with Netflix. So November 15th is a big day. So if the people tune in to watch the fight, it does great numbers. But Netflix, they go by a system. Netflix go by watch hours. So like they determine whether a film is successful by watch hours. Like whether you watch the film in its entirety or whether you watch like an hour of the film, watch an hour and 20 minutes. So that's how they determine whether something is successful, which that's very interesting. They go by watch hours. So if they have a lot of watch hours for this fight, which by the way, the card is pretty decent. The card is pretty decent. You got Bruce Shushu Carrington fighting on the card. You got Amanda Serrano's, Katie Taylor too. So the card is a decent card. I don't know who's on the entire card, but so far so good with the card. Well, let me tell you something. You pay a stiff price for integrity. You pay a stiff price for being honest. You pay a stiff price for telling the truth. I could have did what the rest of these dudes was doing. And like I said before, Tiafimo, he want attention. Tiafimo, what he trying to do, he wants somebody like me to interview him and have like an explosive interview and it goes viral. But see, I'm not giving him what he wants. He's so desperate to go viral. He's so desperate to build up a fan base. You know, He's willing to stoop to any level. I wouldn't be surprised if Tiafimo try to. I would be surprised if Tiafimo try to put out some kind of tape or something. That's how desperate he is for attention. Because, like I said, he can't sell fights. I mean, Tiafimo can. I mean, for real, Tiafimo can't sell out like Tiafimo can't sell out the check stand at the Dollar Tree. That's how. No, he has no fan base whatsoever. He can't. I'm serious. He can't. The man can't sell out. The man can't sell out the check stand at the Dollar Tree. But then this dude wants this X amount of money to fight certain to fight certain people. Then again, not really. Nobody wants to see that dude. Nobody, like I said, nobody cares about that dude whatsoever. So he's desperate. So he's saying all this stupid stuff. But what may happen to him, he may run into a group of people that's not going to take him calling black people monkeys and bananas, very lightly. Because his father already, from what I told, so his father, from what I've been told, already got the smacketh laid down on him, for calling black people out their names. So they got a history of this stuff. They got a history of this stuff. I could come up with a profile on how many times that they tried to sneak diss black people. So I could do a diatribe. I could do a video because Tiafimo got a whole bunch of audio of him saying little slick stuff about black people. But at the end of the day, he's suffering from what you call penis envy. So, but that's his problem. You know, kind of funny he got a sponsorship with Bud Light, and we all know the controversy surrounding Bud Light. We already know that their sales dropped dramatically when they basically decided to endorse, a certain person from a certain community. I'm talking about they sales dropped dramatically. Bud Light been in the toilet for well over a year as far as sales go. As you can see, Modelo or Tecate don't want his ass. So I mean, there you have it. But that's Tiafimo for you. The dude is just like desperate. But anyway, you guys, appreciate y'all being here. Got to get out of here. I'm gonna go see Venom 3, I think, maybe. Anyway, appreciate you guys. I'm out.